The siege is over. For 20 years, the Royal Lodge stood as an impenetrable fortress of entitlement, a 30-room monument to a man who believed he was untouchable. But in late January 2026, the silence of the Windsor perimeter was finally broken, not by the roar of a protest or a legal gavel, but by the grinding gears of heavy transport. Insider sources confirmed the atmosphere on the grounds was funeral-like. There were no shouting matches, no last-minute standoffs, just the crushing, bureaucratic weight of a forced, logistical surrender. The convoy of white moving vans that breached the perimeter didn't just carry furniture, they carried the wreckage of a reputation that has been eroding for decades. Prince Andrew's entrenched residency has ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. And as the gates swing shut behind him for the final time, the true scale of the disaster he left behind is only just coming to light. This wasn't just an eviction. It was a forensic exposure of a life lived in total denial. Welcome back to Royal Family Daily. If you've been tracking the slow-motion collapse of the House of York, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. We are digging into the details the palace once buried. Let's talk about the state of the property. For years, Andrew claimed he was the perfect steward of the Royal Lodge. He fought the King's eviction notices by citing his 75-year lease, a document he believed gave him the right to rot in luxury until his dying day. But that lease had a clause about maintenance. And that is exactly how the Crown Estate finally destroyed him. Forensic inspections conducted in the final weeks of his residency have exposed a catastrophic breach of stewardship. We are hearing reports of irrevocable decay. The Crown Estate successfully weaponised the condition of the house against him. We're talking about unchecked black mould climbing the walls of the servant quarters, structural damp that has compromised the timber in the West Wing, peeling lead paint and masonry that hasn't been touched since the Queen Mother was alive. Andrew didn't just live there. He allowed a £30 million asset to rot from the inside out. He didn't have the money to fix it, and he was too proud to admit it. The inspector's report was the final nail in the coffin. It proved that the Duke of York wasn't a tenant. He was a squatter in a palace he couldn't afford to heat. The siege of Royal Lodge wasn't broken by King Charles waving a sceptre. It was broken by a health and safety report, declaring parts of the residence unfit for habitation. But the most jarring detail of this move isn't the mould. It isn't the damp. It is the bizarre, almost psychological obsession that stalled the entire logistical operation. You would think the primary hurdle in moving a former Royal Highness would be his archives, his legal papers, his uniforms. You would be wrong. According to high-level insider sources, the non-negotiable priority for Prince Andrew was his collection of 72 teddy bears. This is not a joke. This is the reality of a man in his 60s who is clinging to his childhood because his adulthood has become a nightmare. The extraction of these emotional companions became a military operation in itself. Staff were reportedly subjected to a laminated DOY placement guide, DOY standing for Duke of York. This guide detailed the exact hierarchy and positioning of every single stuffed animal. If the bears are not arranged precisely, by height, by colour, by sentimental value, the Duke becomes extremely agitated. Imagine the scene. You have moving crews dealing with millions of pounds of antique furniture, navigating a house riddled with damp, and in the middle of it all, grown men are being screamed at because a teddy bear is facing the wrong angle. It is a display of cognitive dissonance that borders on the pathological. While his life falls apart, while his brother strips him of his security, Andrew is micromanaging plush toys. It paints a picture of a man who has retreated so far into his own head that he can no longer distinguish between the serious and the trivial. The Bears survived the downgrade to Norfolk. His dignity did not. And let's talk about the money, or rather, the lack of it. The move to Marsh Farm isn't just a change of address. It is a financial apocalypse for his daughters, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie. For years, the Royal Lodge was viewed as the ultimate inheritance vehicle. The lease was a tangible asset, valued at tens of millions. If Andrew had maintained it, if he had played the game, that lease could have been passed down. That legacy has now evaporated. By defaulting on the maintenance clauses, by allowing the property to fall into disrepair, Andrew has allowed the lease to revert to the Crown estate. It is gone. The value is zero. Beatrice and Eugenie have been left with absolutely no claim to the property. He has effectively burned through a $60 million inheritance by refusing to face reality. Yet, despite being stripped of his £1 million annual allowance and his £3 million private security detail, Andrew is still making demands. He has presented King Charles with a wish list for his new residence at Marsh Farm. You have to hear this to believe it. He is reportedly demanding taxpayer-funded stables for his horses. He wants a private golf practice facility installed on the grounds, and he is insisting on upgraded servant quarters, despite having no money to pay for a full staff. It is delusional. He is acting like a billionaire negotiating a penthouse, when in reality, he is a disgraced pensioner being moved into a glorified farmhouse. The King's response? Silence. The bank of Dad is closed, and the bank of Brother is bankrupt when it comes to Andrew's whims. The demands have been met with what aides describe as icy indifference. This move is also shattering the facade of the world's friendliest divorced couple. For decades, Andrew and Sarah Ferguson have lived in each other's pockets, presenting a united front against the world. They shared the vast expanse of Royal Lodge, living separate lives under one massive roof. But Marsh Farm is not Royal Lodge, it is smaller. Much smaller. The forced separation of living quarters has reportedly caused the dynamic to fracture. You can't hide from each other in a farmhouse. Sources indicate that the pressure of relocation has prompted both Andrew and Sarah to seek independent dating lives. And this is sparking absolute terror at the palace. Why? Because a lonely Prince Andrew is a dangerous Prince Andrew. Sarah Ferguson has long been viewed as his handler. She keeps him calm. She manages his moods. She stops him from doing stupid things. Or at least she tries. If they drift apart, if Andrew starts dating, if he goes rogue without his keeper, the palace fears he will become a loose cannon. They are terrified of who he might let into his inner circle. And that fear is well-founded, because the ghosts of his past are not done with him. Just as the moving vans were loading up the teddy bears, a second wave of data started leaking from the Department of Justice in the US. We are talking about the Epstein files. New leaks have identified a series of emails from 2011. These emails are signed by A. They have been geolocated to Balmoral, and the content is explosive. These emails allegedly show A soliciting inappropriate friends months after he claimed to have cut ties with the financier. 2011. Remember that year. That was long after he supposedly ended the friendship. If these emails are authenticated, if they are proven to be from him, it blows his entire legal defence out of the water. It reopens the door for civil liability. It proves he lied to the public, lied to his family, and lied to the Queen. He is moving to a farmhouse to hide from the world, but the digital trail is following him. The village of Wolferton, where Marsh Farm is located, has been transformed. It doesn't look like a retirement home. It looks like a militarised zone. The locals are not happy. They report a bunker mentality taking hold. Airspace restrictions have been extended over the property to block drones. High fences are going up, but the real activity is inside. Command pest control. Vans have been seen scouring the property for weeks. The cottage was derelict. It was empty for a reason. It was damp, cold, and infested. They are frantically trying to make it habitable for a prince who refuses to accept his obscurity. Andrew expects a palace. He is getting a bunker. He expects deference. He is getting isolation. The Marsh Farm siege is just beginning. Andrew is sitting in a cold farmhouse, surrounded by 72 teddy bears, staring at the walls, while the king ignores his calls and the DOJ sifts through his old emails. He thinks this is a temporary setback. He thinks he can claw his way back. But everyone else knows the truth. This isn't a relocation. It's an exile. The tragedy here isn't that a prince lost his house. The tragedy is the total lack of self-awareness that led to this moment. He had every advantage, every safety net, and he cut them all one by one with his own arrogance. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think King Charles should have granted any of Andrew's demands for the new house? Or does he deserve the damp walls and the isolation? And what about the inheritance? Did he betray his daughters by letting the Royal Lodge rot? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. If you want to stay updated on the second wave of leaks and the reality of life at Marsh Farm, make sure you subscribe to Royal Family Daily. The story isn't over. The location has changed, but the scandal is just getting started. Thanks for watching.